All right, rewatchers, welcome back. You've hit that time portal, hit the rewind button, and it is time for your next retro rewatch. And today we are going to be doing a mail day. It has been a hot minute since we have done a mail day. I'm not exactly sure how long, maybe possibly 2 months. I don't know. I know over the last like spring break and stuff like that, it has just been crazy busy for me. So I really haven't had a whole lot of time to do much of anything. I don't know that Trey has either. But enough with that. Let's get right to it and get on with our next project. All right. So first we have something from eBay. Let's see what we have here. All right. So we have a 3D movie, and it is A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. It was one of the Robert Zemeckis 3D movies. There were three of them that came out. There was A Christmas Carol, Beowulf, and The Polar Express. So you had two of them that were Christmas themed. And I've seen two of them. I have seen Polar Express, and I've also seen Beowulf. Now, with Polar Express, I have not seen it in 3D, nor have I seen Beowulf. I do have the Polar Express in 3D, but I haven't been able to catch up with it yet. We actually, my family and I thought we were going to be able to do it this last Christmas, and it was just too busy. We just didn't get around to it. But this will be another one to just kind of throw on the list for like next Christmas to hopefully be able to watch along with Polar Express. Um, I really love 3D Blu-rays. I love 3D technology in general. Back whenever these started becoming available after Avatar was released, I think I actually bought somewhere around 50 or so that before I even had a 3D capable TV, just knowing that was some kind of technology that I really wanted to get into and enjoy once the TVs became more readily available, and they eventually did. And currently now I have a pretty amazing setup. I actually have a projector that's 135-inch screen, and it does 3D movies as well. And currently I think I have around 200, 210 3D movies, not including that one. So I'm slowly trying to amass what I hope maybe, I don't know, is one of the best 3D collections out there, because it is something I really enjoy. And it's something that my family's really gotten into recently as well. We've been watching the Shrek movies, and we've seen Shrek 1, 2, and 3. And the 3D on all those were really good. I have Shrek 4 in 3D as well, but we haven't gotten around to that one yet. And I actually haven't seen that one at all. So hopefully it's a good movie. Um, all right. So these five came from Pop Market off of eBay, and um, we have some more 3D movies. We have The Secret Life of Pets 2. I don't have the first one. The first one may actually be in this box somewhere. Um, but my kids really like The Secret Life of Pets. We went to the dentist actually for them to have an appointment, and at the dentist, The Secret Life of Pets was playing, and all three of them just kind of went nuts over it. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's a movie I need to get, because that's something that we'll really enjoy as a family. So, but that's the second one that's in 3D, and if you look closely, it has markings on it where it came from the UK. So you'll need a region-free player to be able to play that. Ooh, this is really interesting. So we just talked about the Robert Zemeckis 3Ds, and here is Beowulf in 3D from Japan, actually. And for a long, long, long time, I looked everywhere for this thing to be able to get it in 3D and be able to watch the 3D. And didn't even know this really existed until just recently, where you could actually get it in the 3D. Now, one thing interesting about this too. Now, this is the theatrical cut, and it's 114 minutes long. There is a director's cut out there, excuse me, that should be 115 minutes long. I do not know what the difference is, but sorry about that. But that would be interesting to find out. But I am very much looking forward to watching this, because all these movies had this really weird animation style where, like, at the time, it was almost trying to be like realistic. Now, of course, this is like literally 20 years later or something like that, pretty close. So, what was air quote realistic looking back then is not very realistic looking now for what we expect. But it was still a very unique animation style. And I remember enjoying the movie pretty good for what it was. All right, so this next one, all of these are going to be from overseas. We have Proof of Life. This is a movie that has never been released on Blu-ray in the United States. It's something where you can watch it on you can watch it on like streaming, but it's always in stereo. And this actually has 5.1 surround. So that was one thing that I was looking forward to getting this. And also, it should have a higher bit rate and be better quality. The next thing is Kiss of Death with Nicolas Cage and David Caruso. This is another movie that has not been released on Blu-ray in the States. This is actually a pretty good movie. It's also got Samuel L. Jackson in it. I am not a David Caruso fan at all. As a matter of fact, on this channel, there have been several points in time where I have made fun of him, quoting South Park, like, Ike, impersonate David Caruso's career. It's my turn. Where he got off NYPD Blue and just did absolutely nothing. Um, but Kiss of Death is actually pretty good. It's kind of a fairly straightforward movie about David Caruso being a guy who used to be kind of in with organized crime and trying his best to get out of it, and just through bad circumstances gets pulled back in as much by the police as anything to go undercover and try and catch the people that he used to be involved with. But it's a pretty good movie, and Nicolas Cage is pretty good in it. I thought that he had some really good performance in there. Next, I really like this movie, The Beach. This was the first movie that Leonardo DiCaprio made after Titanic. And I think there's a lot of people out there that probably do not care for this movie. It's a Danny Boyle movie. I think it's really good. This was actually where I kind of started to change my mind about Leo DiCaprio, that he really is a good actor. And he went on to do great, great, great things after this, including like Inception and many movies other than that. But Robert Carlyle is in this as well, in some cameo roles. And if you've never seen this movie, I would highly recommend it. It's just really interesting. It's got Tilda Swinton in it as well, and in one of her earlier roles. And it's just really interesting to kind of see, like, it's kind of a take on madness, if you will. The setup is they go to this island, the beach, where everything's in harmony, and there's just nothing bad to be found. And then slowly things start to erode, and this utopia that they create becomes reality, where bad things do happen. There are gorillas near the island that produce drugs that they run into. People get injured and like break their legs, and they have no way of like taking care of them, that kind of stuff. And it's just a really interesting take on some of those social dynamics that has definitely been in other movies, but I really like how they do it in that one. All right, moving on to the next one. We have another movie from eBay. Okay, so this is going to be a contact to an eBay seller because we have The Secret Life of Pets. However, this is not the 3D one that I ordered. So there you go. So I would have The Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2 in 3D if that wasn't sent to me by mistake. All right, next we've got a package from Amazon. And okay, so one of these movies is a movie that I talked about on another mail day when I got some stuff from Australia. Umbrella is doing a big, super huge release of Daybreakers in 4K, where it's got like a limited edition box. It's got a book. It's got a whole lot of stuff. It's like $70, $80, something like that. And it was just something where I saw it actually is released here in the States. There's a lot of stuff that Umbrella does release in 4K, Blu-ray, whatever, that has not come out anywhere in the world. But in this case, we did have one in the US, and this was a lot cheaper. I think this was maybe like $17 or something like that. And this is a movie that I've actually never ever seen. It does pop up on a lot of vampire lists as worth watching. There is one of my clients that I make a lot of covers for. He and I actually just happen to be texting because, ironically, we text a lot. And that was something that came up that he really, really enjoyed and recommended to me. So I was like, you know what, that's good. It's been out for 15 years or something. I need to check it out. So I went ahead and threw down on it. So this next one is a old time favorite, High Noon. This is one of them that when you look up on the IMDb, it's one of the greatest films of all time. It gets a very, very, very high rating, and it's a Kino Lorber release, 4K. And I've never seen it. It's a Gary Cooper movie, and I'm very much looking forward to it. There was a sale that Amazon ran where they had a bunch of 4Ks on sale for really cheap, and I know this is one of them on Kino Lorber. Maybe they were doing a sale too, but I've seen it be very expensive on there, and this was like 14 or 15 bucks, brand new during the sale. So I went ahead and decided it was time to just go ahead and throw down on it. All right, next looks like we have another box from eBay. All right, very cool. Okay, so this is a movie that is out of print, and so if you find copies of it now, it is not cheap. This one was not cheap. However, it was not as expensive as I have seen it get, and that was actually one of the things I've been kind of watching it. And this one was lower than average, so I went ahead and decided to throw down on it. It is a Michael Douglas movie that has Brittany Murphy in it, who I really love. I love Brittany Murphy. I mean, she's one of many actors and actresses that went from us way too soon. I think she passed away at 30 um, under questionable circumstances. I mean, I think that the police called it an overdose at the time, but her boyfriend wound up passing away like 2 weeks after that in equally questionable circumstances. And I'm not sure what they ever did come up with that. But anyway, I think officially they ruled it an overdose of some kind, not on illegal drugs. I don't believe, if you go back and look. But anyhow, it's Don't Say a Word. This is a movie that also has Sean Penn in it and Famke Janssen. And I mean, there was a lot of movies that Michael Douglas came out with in the 90s and early 2000s where it was kind of like a erotic thriller kind of thing. This is not really erotic, but it was kind of a mystery thriller, where this guy's family's taken hostage and this girl has got information that the kidnappers are looking for. And then he's got to go through these series of trials and puzzle solving to try and get his family back. And it's not the greatest movie ever made, but it's actually pretty entertaining. And again, I really love Brittany Murphy in that movie. She's fantastic. All right. So this is going to be exciting because this is from Diabolique DVD. And I always love when I get stuff from Diabolique DVD. Usually it's rare stuff that either they're the only place you can get it or it's coming from overseas and they're the best way to get it. Oh, yeah. Very good. All right. So we have 4 movies here. And speaking of Umbrella, we have the Moogai. This is an Australian film, if I'm not mistaken, that they were the only company that was selling a physical copy of it, and I hadn't placed an order in a while from them, and this was, I don't know, it was like $21 or something like that. And shipping from Umbrella can be insane unless you spend enough to get free shipping, and that wasn't going to happen off $21. So it was just quicker and easier to get it through Diabolique DVD. Next is an Akira Kurosawa movie, which, by the way, the Moogai is a horror film about, I think it's a folk horror film about kind of like a creature feature kind of thing. If you look in there, you can kind of see some scary looking hands. Um, Getting back to Akira Kurosawa. So Akira Kurosawa is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. Samurai, or Seven Samurai, excuse me, Throne of Bone, Yojimbo, Sanjuro. I mean, it's an endless ran an endless number of titles, and this is one of the few movies of his that High Low Country, another one, or it's just High Low. I can't remember if it's High Low or High Low Country. Anyway, but this is one of the few movies of his that I didn't have, and it just recently got released by BFI, and so it's I think it's kind of like an organized crime thriller uh, that involves like a rookie detective, and it gets super high ratings. I think another Icaro, that's another one I got recently. I don't remember if I had it on mail day or not. I may have. Next, we have another creature feature. It's supposed to be a very unique vampire film, kind of like a folk horror vampire film, The Vourdalak. This is something that I've heard a lot about. It's supposed to have a very, very interesting villain. And so, speaking of which, the client that I do a lot of covers for, that I spoke about a minute ago, this is a movie that he and I had been texting about, and I don't think he had seen it either, but he had a high interest to see it, and we were just kind of spun each other up about getting excited about it. All right, so the next movie, or it's actually a series, is The Penguin off of HBO Max. And it's in a steelbook, like a limited edition steelbook. And if you look, it actually came from the UK. I imagine this is probably something that I could have gotten from the US, but it was something that I was placing an order from Diabolique DVD. The price they had on it wasn't bad. I just decided to go ahead and throw down on it. I've got a region free player. I won't have any, which and it's 4K on top of that, so it shouldn't be region locked anyway. But just something I just threw in there because. All right, moving on. We have another one from Amazon. Okay. We have Troll Hunter. This is a movie that is supposed to be like a found footage kind of thing of people hunting trolls, and it gets good reviews. It's something that I've been interested in for a very, very long time, and that's kind of it. It's just supposed to be a really good creature feature found footage movie, and I just decided, you know what, let's go for it. I want to get it, and it was at a good price. So it is pretty much that simple. All right. Interesting. So this is a movie that I had on another mail day. It is The Cell. It is from um, Arrow Video. It's 4K, and I don't remember if in the mail day if I talked about it or not, but the 4K disc actually had an error on it that was a printing error, and they actually sent out the replacement disc. So I just kind of threw it in there so that I would have a reference for anybody that's watching or knows anything about it. If you got a copy and didn't realize it, they do have a program to swap out the defective disc. Here we go. And continuing along those lines, on another mail day, I talked about the Blair Witch Project from Second Sight. This is the limited edition. It is also a 4K. There was one of the discs in here that had an issue with the audio. I think it was maybe the festival cut, maybe. I can't remember, but they also did a replacement, and here is the replacement disc that they sent out. Actually, a really cool little case. I actually haven't seen a single disc case like that before. But again, just PSA: if you have the Blair Witch Blu-ray from Second Sight, it does have a pressing error, and they do have a replacement program for it. All right. All right. Continuing with Amazon, we have another shipment from Amazon. Eastern Condors. This is a movie that Criterion just released not long ago. Man, this is like a bad pressing. You can't really see it here, but the art should come all the way down to here, and instead it's actually up over the edge, so it's actually been creased and cut up in the pressing process. That kind of stinks. But it was just an action movie from the 80s, I believe, 1987. And reading about it, it's kind of like post Vietnam era. There's like some weapons that the Americans have left behind that they've got to keep the North Koreans from getting, if I'm not mistaken. So there's like Vietnamese, South Vietnamese soldiers that try and destroy these weapons before the North Vietnamese can get it, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it was about, but it sounded really cool. Next, we've got one from eBay. I actually picked it up the same time I picked that up, and man, the slipcover is jacked up, but it's the First Omen. It's actually new, but it looks like it had a sticker removed from the front, so the slipcover is actually kind of jacked up. But anyway, I'm not a big fan of the Omen movies, actually. I really like the first one with Gregory Peck in it. That was fantastic. But they definitely got worse as they made them. And I never saw the remake with Liev Schreiber that came out years ago. But I've heard really good things about this Omen movie, and I really, I just kind of wanted to see it and see how it does. All right, next. All right, so it looks like we've got a shipment from Umbrella here. This is a shipment that I made this order like back in, I don't know, October or something, and this would have come out in January. So first we have Azrael. It is a limited edition release of it. This is, again, I'm pretty sure this is another Australian film. It's got Samara Weaving in it, who I absolutely love. She was in Mayhem with, oh Lord, the guy from The Walking Dead, Stephen Yeun. And also, she was in Ready or Not, which I really, really like. That was a really cool horror film about like a family of game creators. Highly recommend Ready or Not if you haven't seen it. This is another movie that I have not seen. It's Hounds of Love. This is just supposed to be kind of like a shock feature. It's a limited edition version. You can see this is number 58 of 600, so they did not make very many of these. Um, this is supposed to be, I think, like a kidnapping film and a survival and escape film. Something that, again, I am looking forward to watching as soon as I get a chance. So Christopher Smith is somebody that we've talked about before on Mail Days. I believe he was the guy who directed um, the Black Plague, and this is another movie of his called Creep, and it has. Um, I'm drawing a blank on the actress that's in it real quick. Is that Franca Potenta that was in this possibly? Yes, Franca Potenta. That is correct. And she's an actress that I really, really, really like. And there's actually a few films out there called Creep. There's one that's a found footage movie where a guy hires a documentary crew to like film his final days, like he's got cancer or something, and it's not everything. Nothing is what it appears to be. This is a film where a woman gets trapped underground in a subway and is being chased by these underground people. And this is actually a movie that inspired the movie The Descent. That was. It was very good. I don't know how many people out there who are watching this have seen that. If you haven't seen it, it's very, very good. It's got a sequel that I've never seen, but The Descent is a fantastic film. And lastly, we have another movie called Severance. I actually have no idea if this is actually related to the show that's on Apple Plus. Um, but it's supposed to be kind of like a dark comedy that's kind of graphic and gory. And you can see this one's number 86 of 1,000. And for Creep, it is 440 of 1,000. So those are some fairly low print runs. Those will be worth something in time for sure. We've got another one from Amazon here. Jesus, this is something I was waiting on for forever. All right, so it's Once Upon a Time in the West, which I love. It's a fantastic movie. It's a Sergio Leone movie. It's the same guy that did the Man with No Name trilogy, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, for a few dollars more, Fistful of Dollars. I just did them in reverse order for whatever reason, but I actually like this one better than those films, except for maybe for a few dollars more. That's my favorite of the Man with No Name trilogy. And of course, everybody under the sun would say that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is their favorite. I'm just going to be honest. Hot take, unpopular opinion alert. It's boring to me for the most part. It's too long. The Mexican standoff at the end is great, but for the most part, it just feels like not much happens in the movie, and it's just really plotting. But this has got Henry Fonda and Charles Bronson in it, and this movie is just excellent. It is so good, and they did a Paramount Presents of this that came out with like a special slipcover and had like a fold out thing, and it's expensive as all get out crap. But they finally released it just kind of like a regular 4K, and this wasn't. This was like $14. It's excellent. I'm so happy to be able to get it. What do we have here? All right, it's another Amazon. Like I said, this has been months in the making here. American Psycho. So this is something that for anybody that's watched the channel much, I've got a good friend Brad that 20 years ago I told him he needed to watch this movie. He just finally watched it, and he called me to want to discuss it. And I was like, man, I hadn't seen it in 20 years. I mean, kind of a little late to the party. I mean, we talked about what I could remember of it and enjoyed that, but talking about it with him, it just reminded me I actually don't own any copies of this, and I kind of wanted to rewatch it, and then I'd be able to talk to him a little more about it. Um, so what I'm going to do with these, I've also got some. I've talked about Fast Drive on here before, where I can just get discs and I actually make the covers for them. And so I got 3 of those in. So the next time I do one of these, maybe I'll actually show you the covers. But I got Deadpool Wolverine in 4K. I got The Wages of Fear Criterion, and I got Thief Criterion. And Deadpool and Wolverine 4K. I don't know anybody that's been paying attention. But that thing's kind of crazy. The steel books are just going for stupid money, and even just the regular plain old like regular 4K is like over $30. And so I mean I was able to get that 4K, just the disc only, for I don't know, it was like $11 shipped. So the last thing that we have is, I think, honestly, legitimately the greatest media ever made. I've just been over the moon for this. I've literally been watching this almost exclusively and nonstop for over 2 months now. And I've got the 4K Steelbook, and I love it so much. I had to get the Blu-ray Steelbook just so that I would have both of them. And I am talking about Arcane. For anybody that hasn't seen this show, it is just absolutely incredible. Words cannot describe how good this show is. It is emotional. It is thought provoking. It is so well animated. I've never seen animation like it. I'm actually wearing an Arcane shirt. Jinx, who is one of the main characters, if not the main character. And at some point in time, maybe for a movie memorabilia, I will put both steelbooks on it because they're both just so gorgeous. But um, spoiler alert ahead, but also too, I think that I have decided that I'm going to do a multi-part breakdown of Arcane, where I do a severe deep dive on the show. And I think I'm going to do it almost kind of like a commentary. I'm going to try and get some guest stars where we can watch the show and we can comment on as we're watching it and do a really deep discussion about it. And that's something that I am so looking forward to, and I just cannot wait to do it. So that's it. We have reached the end of the mail day. It has been a long one. Hopefully it won't be this long before we do another one, but that is it. We have hit the end of the tape. We've got to hit the rewind button, and we have got to get to the video store. We will see you next time.